I think we're live, Andy. Are we live?
Are we?
I think we are. It says we are. Let's see. I think so. Anyway, sorry for cutting out short yesterday. I had a lot of things I had to do yesterday. I got Andy here with me today. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
I think we're going live. Are we live? I don't know.
Are we on?
I think we're on. Yeah, it says we're on. So we are on. Hey, listen, Andy, I want to jump right into a lot of things. There's a whole lot going on.
Okay.
Joe Biden's in doo-doo right now. Well, I'll get your opinion on that, but let me just share some with you. Vice President Joe Biden is now in doo-doo after government documents.
Well, you just called him vice president.
Oh, no. Well,
he was.
He was then.
Yeah.
He was then.
Yeah.
But he's in doo-doo. He's in doo-doo up to his eyeballs right now. And it seems like they just keep finding more doo-doo. But anyway, he's up in the doo-doo, and it all has to do with these government documents being discovered. I sure hope we're on. I think we are. I hope so. I'd hate.
How do you know?
Well, normally I get a little thing that says we're on, but anyway. So, and here's the thing. They've been discovered at one of his homes, which everyone has known about this now. It's all over the media, which normally they keep that stuff quiet, but this is so big they can't keep it quiet.
Yeah.
And they say that these documents could either be, now they're saying on MSNBC and some of the, there we go, we're on. Okay. And some of the Democrats or the Democrats or whatever, they're all saying, well, Trump might have planted them, or somebody else might have planted them. Like they're going to go into that garage with the Corvette. The only person I know that goes into that Corvette, the garage with that Corvette, is Hunter Biden. I think we're going to find out a lot about this. But anyway, they say that these documents can be planted, stolen, and there's a national security threat or just plain illegal for him to even have them. Because remember, he's not supposed to have these things as the vice president, which I didn't know until just now.
Yeah, right.
And so what is going to come of this? What do you think is going to come of this? Is this going to be like the John Durham investigation that goes on and on and on with lots of fanfare and zero results? Or is this a ploy to get Biden to actually step down? Think about that. Who knows? But Biden, Biden's not going to go to prison. But what are your thoughts?
I think that makes the most sense.
To get him to step down.
Because if you think about it, the people who brought this out are his lawyers. And if they wanted to hide this, they could have easily hidden it. Why all of a sudden the lawyers, all of a sudden they're so concerned about this? These things have been there for at least 6 years, maybe even up to 9 years.
Yeah, well, think about it.
Wait a minute. But so his lawyers are the ones who notified the DOJ about this?
Yeah.
That sounds very, very suspicious to me. It sounds like they're trying to, Tucker made a great point last night that they're trying to, to move him out now. And they could have easily, this was known months ago, and they didn't bring it out before the election, obviously, the midterms. And now they're bringing it out after he declared that he's going to run again. So I'm very suspicious of the whole thing, especially given the fact that it was his people who were bringing this. Come on. You don't protect
Well, he's not going to go to jail. But you know what's interesting? So I know because my uncle, I grew up around my uncle, and he had, dementia.
Yeah.
And these kind of stress factors against the dementia person can cause a lot of friction with them. So I don't know. I wonder if Biden even understands what's going on, or if it's just the cue cards that are being put in front of him that he's reading. But you know what? I don't feel sorry for this man. I don't feel sorry for him. Even if Hunter Biden allegedly could have planted these things or took them in there because of Burisma with Ukraine and all these other things, China.
To create a diversion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
That's another factor.
But he deserves it because he's been defending little Hunter Biden for a long time. And Jim Biden, I got to tell you, I don't like that guy. That guy looks mafioso to me, Jim Biden. But anyway,
Yeah, he's part of the whole Biden crime family.
right? And
Yeah.
the Biden family looks like it might come crumbling down a little bit, and little Jill Biden, well,
See, I don't know. I mean, if they take him down from this kind of offense, which is, to be honest, a lot less serious than the stuff he's really doing with the Burisma and the Chinese and all the money laundering and the bullshit Biden Penn Center and all that crap. This is a much more of a minor offense, and they could kind of get him out with this. And then you're right, they don't have to look at the other stuff which is a far greater crime and a far greater level of corruption.
right? What do you think? I mean, I think I smell an impeachment in the air. It could be. This is a way to impeach the president.
It could be. It could be.
Because if they find, listen, and this guy that was under Ray, and he was appointed by Trump. It's interesting that they would bring somebody in that was appointed by Trump, and it's
but
just
this
like,
guy, didn't he work for
it's
Rod?
like a diversion. It's almost like this is a game that the DOJ is playing. Here
like
you've got one that's appointed by, I think it was Obama or Ray.
I thought he worked with Rosenstein.
No, I'm talking about the one that's actually going, investigating Trump now from Mar-a-Lago. Wasn't he appointed by Reagan or someone, I think?
Not sure.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's interesting because now it looks like this is all starting to come to a head. It's like this movie doesn't end. It just keeps going on and on and on. But it looks like there could be some interesting facts. I mean, they're going to find out. Look, I'll tell you right now, Comer and Jim, all those guys, all the Republican House now, they're all very interested what is in those documents that were found and given back to the archives. No one's saying yet. Remember how fast they got to what these were with Donald Trump? Getting me all excited. With Donald Trump, right? Classified documents.
Yeah, totally.
Well, he can do it. In fact, President Trump can declassify documents.
Right.
He's the president of the United States.
Yeah.
But a vice president is not allowed to take anything outside of the archives.
That's right.
And he did.
No, that's right. And
else Hunter did, or somebody in his
you see the classic
clan.
You see the classic double standard here, where Republicans, conservatives are treated one way, Democrats treated another way. You see how all the media is rushing to defend Biden. It's such a pathetic joke, and you really see the condition of this two-tiered justice system, this double standard, and it makes you sick to your stomach when you see that.
I mean, you think about it. Biden's home is protected by Secret Service and everything.
Yeah,
and somebody's going to sneak in at night and grab those, and plant those documents. There was a funny picture yesterday, and it was showing like Trump carrying these boxes in front of. Come on.
Ridiculous. You know what? One thing that's an interesting kind of side note. You see. We've all seen the pictures of Joe Biden's mansion, and he has multiple mansions. And these are enormous, huge mansions. And here's a guy who's been a senator all his life, and the senators, make $180,000, $190,000, which is a nice salary, of course.
Yeah.
But you don't get mansions. You don't get these just mega mansions.
No.
This is like how somebody like Bill Gates or George Soros would be living. And you have this guy who's been a senator. How the hell does he have these
mansions? He was supposed to be the poorest, remember? He was the poorest senator.
Joe
I'm the poor Joe.
Mr. Scranton, right? Scranton, Pennsylvania, right? Mr.
And supposedly, here's the other thing. And supposedly those houses that he stays in, he's the guest of those houses. It's all and Hunter Biden
is the owner.
Is the owner of that house.
Right.
Bullshit, Hunter Biden. How's Hunter Biden the owner? Because of Daddy. Maybe Daddy puts everything in Hunter Biden's name, I'm sure. Who knows? I don't know.
This is the corruption of politics. The quote Penn Biden Center paid him $900,000 to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And the money, and right after they paid him, guess what? They got all these donations from the Chinese.
Well, look how much money he made off of Burisma as well.
Yeah, this is how you get enough to buy mansions.
Let's go to the other side of the globe. Let's leave the United States and go over to Ukraine. So you've got Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, where he took time out of his busy war schedule this week to speak at the Golden Globes.
There you go.
You got a war going on, yet he has time
Not
to.
that anybody was watching the Golden Globes.
I heard they had the lowest ratings
yeah,
ever.
it was like the lowest ratings ever.
Well, that's a racist group anyway, a big-time racist. The Golden Globes.
How are they racist?
Oh my God! They just now started letting the black folks in. I mean, they've been racist for a long time.
Really?
Golden Globe. Oh yeah. Oh, you just look at it up. But anyway, so like you said, their ratings were a disaster, and Zelensky went ahead and reassured the audience that there will be no world war.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zelensky.
Yeah.
And Zelensky's and he looks like they just lost another part of Ukraine yesterday to Russia.
Didn't he do like a Vogue cover also? In the middle of
Did he
war?
really?
Yeah,
He did Vogue.
He was on Vogue with his wife in the middle. This is a couple months back. Right in the middle. He was on Vogue. So, the man has priorities. The man has responsibilities. He's
been toting now how well Ukraine is doing against Russia in this propaganda world. He said Ukraine is doing great, and in the real world, it's still sucking, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of sucking, now the military brass is starting to worry about sucking the U.S. And I said this a long time ago. I'm like, damn, they're giving everything to Ukraine. They're going to leave us defenseless. And so now the U.S. is starting to worry, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, about sucking the U.S. war stockpile dry after sending more than $100 billion in military help to help Ukraine. And there is still no end in sight to the war or the money funding it, because Zelensky just wants more and more and more money, right? I mean, when is this thing going to stop? Maybe. And then now I'm hearing that Biden is, oh, you know what? I just thought about this. So Biden is saying that any bill that comes to his desk, he's going to veto it. So maybe this is how they got to get him out of I don't know. Maybe there's something going on here. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway.
Well, like you said, I think Joe Biden is obviously just dimly aware of what's happening. You saw him in when he was trying to answer questions, and he couldn't even answer questions. He had to go right to his script. He had to go right
his little cue cards,
his
right?
cue cards, yeah. I mean, and he could barely read those. I mean, the man is in extreme cognitive decline. It's so it's the most obvious thing in the world, and he's obviously making no decisions. I don't think he makes any decisions whatsoever. And he really is not. He's obviously not the real person in charge. He's not the president. He's just a prop. And
yeah, we knew that from day one.
The people in power, when they decided he's.
I think maybe, and this is just me saying this, that they see that he's getting worse and that they need to do. But think about who we're going to have take his place.
I know.
Oh my God, that ain't no better.
Yeah, I mean they used him, and now that he's served the purpose.
Now they want to bring in Kamala.
I don't think they want Kamala in there.
Well, she would be next in line.
But they'd probably
and guess who would next?
No, but they'd bring in a power person like a Hillary Clinton for
vice
president.
Think about this.
Or a Michelle Obama who would really be running the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Andy, I just got done having my
Kamala
breakfast.
Harris isn't running anything either.
Oh my God. Well, listen. Everybody now is expecting the Fed to stop fighting inflation and start cutting their interest rates. And the latest CPI data says that it's going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So inflation is still more than 3 times above the 2% target rate at 6.5%. And also, service inflation now soars to the highest level in 40 years. Rent inflation is also headed straight up. So expect more Fed rate increases, not cuts. And this is what I wanted to share, today. And not only that, we saw where the stocks fell back down today. Because why? Because of the bank share, of the earnings from the banks. And the banks right now are declining because of their seeing that the recession is here. And so, this is why it's so important to get your house in order. Start, if you don't have that much money, start buying silver. Then work your way up, but start getting your house in order so that you have something that you can exchange for more value later on. In other words, have something that has strength value, not something like a piece of paper that can just burn up in the fire.
Yeah, we're seeing it now. I mean, today gold hit, was it 1915 today?
Yeah. It's over 1900 now.
Gold's over 1900. It really looks like the bottom's in on gold a couple months back, and it really looks strong. It's poised to break to new all-time highs. We're knocking on all-time highs right now, and it's going to be, in this climate, gold is really going to shine. Silver is really going to shine. Silver is still so cheap.
Yeah.
I urge you, everyone out there, get some silver. Take action. The government is not your friend. The dollar is being slowly destroyed.
Yeah.
This is happening. And get some silver, get some gold. You're only going to be happy you did it. It's going to be something you could always hold. And I have clients who I was talking to a client the other day, and he was telling me he remembers, this man is in his 70s, and he said, I remember when gold was $35.
Yeah,
I
have it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. Alan bought it, right? But don't be that person who's kicking yourself. I remember when gold was 1900 and now it's 5,000. Oh, I could have bought it. I remember these guys on YouTube talking about it, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And listen, let me tell you something. Lately, because of the way the economy is right now, clients of ours that have gold and silver either in their IRA or on their possession in their own safe or even at a vault, a lot of people are starting to liquidate, not because they want to, because they have to, because so much is expensive now. Food has gone up. Everything is so expensive that they're like, hey, I need 5,000. I need 2,000. It's 2,000 this month, then another 2,000.
Yep.
And I've noticed this a lot. And I'm telling them, I'm like, look, no problem. We can liquidate. It's not a problem. So we do. But what I'm telling them to do is to hold on to the silver and liquidate more of the gold. And the reason for this is because silver, the numbers that we see, could easily go 4-1 on the silver. And you know what? If it's up to y'all, to the person that wants to do it. But that's just a recommendation. Getting away from the gold and silver for a minute, and this is why you want to have metals in your portfolio. I mentioned earlier on in the show when we first started that the military, right, so the Navy Secretary is now admitting that we have a crisis in the U.S. defense stockpiles. And the leader of the U.S. Navy now says that the question of dwindling U.S. armed stockpiles in the rush to arm Ukraine, which now stands at over $100 billion in defense aid and counting, is dire enough that some tough, unprecedented decisions are coming, which now is very shocking. And, it's either this. It's either do we support Ukraine or do we support the United States? And now you've got a lot going on with China as well and Taiwan and North Korea and all these. If these guys decide to team up, my God, are we in trouble? And this Navy Secretary, his name is Carlos Del Toro. He acknowledges before a naval warfare conference in Arlington, Virginia on Wednesday that the United States within the next 6 months could face a decision of whether to arm itself or Ukraine due to rapidly depleting stockpiles due to supplying Ukraine. Not made up. This is real. So The question is, do we support Ukraine or do we support the United States? I sure hope the hell it's the United States. And I'm really glad that we have the new House in committee there to where they will support the United States. What do you guys think?
great comments. You know, it's an incredible amount of money to be poured into Ukraine for very dubious purposes. Nobody knows where the money's going. There's no accountability. I saw a statistic that said something like maybe 15% of that money actually went towards giving them equipment, and the rest of the money just kind of went into the rabbit hole. You know how Ukraine's considered one of the most corrupt countries on the world. You think that money is all going to the military?
I'll tell you honestly, Andy, when I look at that Zelensky guy, I get creeps.
I don't trust him.
I don't trust a person that talks out the side of their mouth.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to share with you some of the exchange that was heard by these reporters. So the secretary was asked to respond to comments that were made at this conference by Admiral Daryl Caudle, who is the commander of the U.S. Fleet Forces Command. And here's what the reporter said. The reporter said, worried that the Navy might get to the point where it has to make the decision whether it needs to arm itself or arm Ukraine. And has the Navy gotten to that point yet? And Del Toro replied, with regards to delivery of weapon system for the fight in Ukraine, yeah. He says that's always a concern for us, and we monitor that very, very closely. And I wouldn't say we're quite there yet, but if the conflict does go on for another 6 months, for another year, it certainly continues to stress the supply chain in ways that are challenging. So, I mean, it's like,
yeah, I have no
deleting our stockpile. And if any more comes after us or anyone ever does any more, I mean, it's like, here we go. You know, it's like we're becoming victims to the world, to other, like these BRIC nations and everything.
Yeah, and if the conflict with China comes over Taiwan, then that could be a whole nother level to this. I mean, because that would be a much more extreme fight that we probably would have to really actually have engagement in.
Right.
This seems like it's almost like a dry run for that. Seeing what the United States would do and how much they would invest, maybe it's almost like China's testing, because China and Russia work hand in hand. Like they're almost like testing the waters to see what they would be able to get away with and what they
right.
So I don't know. I think it's very murky in terms of what's going on and what the real motivations are for a lot of these maneuvers and what's really behind it. I don't think it's generally a good thing. I think it's that force that's pushing us towards globalization, government control, financial tyranny, economic tyranny.
It's 5 words. Failure of Joe Biden administration. 5 words.
You can put it that way.
It's really what it is. Think about it.
But he's not. I mean, the people behind the scenes who are doing all this.
This is administration.
Yeah, but it's not. Joe Biden. Joe Biden's just worried about where he can get his next ice cream cone. He doesn't. He's not making any of these calculations.
His next ice cream cone.
Yeah. I mean, they want to.
What about McCarthy? So House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and this is right up you love this kind of stuff, as well as I do, said that yesterday, that he's willing to make public unreleased security footage from the January. It's almost like Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like Elon Musk
Twitter
unloading information that Twitter suppressed for so long.
Right.
Well, now McCarthy's going to do it. He says he's going to release the footage, all the footage, not just part of it.
Wow.
And Pelosi's over there having a heart attack. Her refrigerator. And yesterday, I saw her yesterday. Normally Pelosi, she's all groomed and she's all, but her hair was all out and she had a chip in her mouth and she just went and walked away like a witch. But anyway, so from January 6th, and this is when the pro-Trump protesters actually breached the complex to protests the presidential election. And he says this. He says, I want to be very thoughtful about it. But yes, McCarthy said at his weekly presser, I think that the public, and I agree, I know I want to see it, I think that the public, well, we've seen a lot of it. We've seen a lot of it that was suppressed, right? Because Fox had a lot of it that was done. But anyway, I think that the public should see what happened on that day. Absolutely. And he says, I watched what then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi did, where she politicized it. Well, we all know she hated Trump. She hates conservatives because she doesn't get her way. And remember, she got rich off of being House Speaker. Her and her husband, Paul Pelosi, who got hit in the head, they got rich off of the being in politics. So for the first time, he says, in history,
Nancy Pelosi's a very good stock picker. That's what I'm going to say. She knows to pick it. She knows how to pick stock.
Yeah, her and Buffett are good friends. I don't know what it is. But this is for the first time in history, as a speaker, not allowing the minority to appoint a committee is what he told reporters. And he says, we watched the politicization of this, and he says, I think that the American public should actually see what happened instead of a report that's written on a political basis. And, you know, not only that, they took this January 6th thing, and they made it a spectacle. They made it huge. And from what I'm hearing, and believe me, I don't support it by no means. In other words, the January 6th riot and all that. It's wrong. You don't go into a Capitol. You don't bust windows. You don't do different things. I understand it. But what I don't understand is that you've got these guys sitting in, you might as well say, you know what I mean? They're being waterboarded. They're being all sorts of torture. There's guys losing their eyes. These are guys that actually served our country in the military. They've got families to feed, and yet they're still sitting in jail, and some of them are sitting in jail for a long time, and they're being mistreated from what I understand. I don't know how much of this is true because I'm not in there to see it. But
they're being beaten. They're being tortured.
They let the illegal aliens in, and I mean, come on.
The treatment of the January 6th protesters is one of the greatest catastrophes of the American government. It's one of the most wicked abuses of power that I've ever seen, that these people who so many of them were just walking around, they did nothing.
Yeah, allegedly, that's what we hear. We don't know for a fact.
They did nothing, and they let, when the Black Lives Matter riots happened.
Oh my God.
That the media there was just wholesale destruction across the country, and the media was cheering them on and saying how wonderful it was. Right?
Yeah.
And the fact is, I'm going to say this about January 6th. All the people there was 1 million people there.
A
couple hundred went into the Capitol. Most of them just walked around. They were let in by the guards.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
And the fact is, let's go back to the whole point. Why were they there? Because the election was stolen.
Allegedly. Allegedly, it was stolen. You can say that, Andy, but I can't say that. It was allegedly stolen. It never was for a fact. You can't say that. You cannot say it was stolen. Allegedly was stolen.
Okay, but that's why they were there, because they felt that the whole election was a charade.
Right.
Just like Arizona. Do you think Arizona, the election in Arizona now with Kerry Lake was
that was kind of fishy. I got to be honest. Fishy. It was fishy.
It's so obvious, and unless that changes, it's
going to happen again. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Exactly. I mean, you can't take away that if you take that fair and honest elections away, then you don't have a society. You just have a banana republic, which is what we're going towards.
It's so true. It's so true. And I feel sad. I feel bad for those inmates, that are locked up.
It's a tragedy.
And that's just like in a regular city jail or county jail, right? Like it's not like a prison yet. It's just in this county jail or whatever it is.
They're abusing them on purpose. for their political views.
It's
Nothing
horrible.
other than that. They're being mistreated and abused for their political views.
I heard that some of them have gotten phones and smuggled it. I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you what, it's terrible what's going on, and hopefully we get this all cleaned up.
Merrick Garland is a scumbag.
Oh,
that guy is one of the sleaziest
He's
people.
another one that talks out the side of his mouth.
It's hard for me even to look at the guy because, there's toxic fumes just emanating from his whole being.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I got to tell you something. When I listen to Garland speak, he's another one that speaks out the side of his mouth. Same thing with Mayorkas. He's another one. If you notice, all of Biden's clan, all his administration, they all talk outside of their mouth. In other words, the side of their mouth. It's not believable.
Yeah.
It's not. When I saw Garland standing there talking about how he was bringing in, he knows he got caught. He knows it. And yet, think about it. All of them documents that are being found right now, and I bet you there's more out there, but those documents, first of all, why – think about this. The archives knows those documents were missing. They knew, right? So why did they wait till after midterms to find those documents, number one? Number two, next to Joe Biden's Corvette, and that ain't even a 72 Corvette, believe me. I don't think so. I think it's more like a 68. But anyway,
do you know about Corvette?
Yeah, I used to have one.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
I had a Corvette, but I don't know. I don't know if it.
I don't think Joe Biden should even be behind the wheel ever.
Did you see when
driving in an open parking lot? When you learn to drive.
Yeah, driving like a madman.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him on the road ever. That would be very dangerous.
And here's the other thing. There were these like boxes sitting behind. I mean.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you just stick these things in your garage. Something ain't right. Something ain't right.
The whole thing,
Hunter was deranged when he did on his crack mission and his meth mission, right? I have a funny feeling Hunter was involved in this. I think Hunter Biden, and I'm hoping. Look, there's a lot of charges that are being brought up against him right now.
Well, if the House does what it's supposed to do, they will have an investigation.
Oh, they will.
And this you're like you said in the beginning, this could be just a big diversion and distraction from that, because that's the big crime.
Get him to step down.
That's the big corruption.
Look, you either step down, Joe Biden, or we're taking your son and we're going to put him underneath the prison. No, that would be so great. That would be so great. All right, it's Friday morning. Soon to be Saturday. We're going to be in a flood again tomorrow, Andy. You better get your life jacket, your rain jacket, your umbrella. Romo's peeking out above it.
Good boy.
We'll see you on Monday. Give us a call, 800-753. 800-753-8534. What is it, buddy? What is it? Oh. Andy, you want to give them your phone number if they want to give you a call? Do you know your number?
Yeah. You can reach me at 213-732-2865. I'll be happy to discuss anything with you related to the gold and silver investment. We're unique as a company because we have direct lines. You can reach us at our direct lines, and we'll talk to you about your investments.
We have an asset protection guide.
We have a great asset protection guide.
We can email it to you if you want.
Yeah, I'll send you the asset protection guide. Talk about how you can have a good balanced proportion. Ray Dalio recommends, I think, to 10 to 15% of your assets in precious metals. I think it should be a little bit higher right now at this time, given all the chaos and turmoil in the world and all of the just craziness of events and the time we're in. So give me a call. I'll go over everything with you. And you always have someone to talk to here. If you have there's other companies where you can't get anybody on the phone, you can always talk to us here. And you're going to learn a lot about gold and silver. You're going to learn a lot about what's real money and the history of real money and why it's so important that we have a currency that has actual value, and it's not just created out of thin air. So I'd love to work with you, and we will continue.
Well spoken there,
Thank
Andrew.
you very much.
Do you have teaching today?
I do, yeah.
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 How's that going, by the way?
It's going okay. I still have a really small group, so I'm not sure what's going to happen because I think
Are they still like a lot of this still just being done remotely?
yeah, I'm doing it remotely because going back to the vaccine, I'm not allowed on a school
Because you won't take the vaccine.
Yeah, they
But
haven't.
they need you so bad that they allow you to do it remote.
They allow
That's
me
some
to do it remote.
bullshit.
Well, hey,
That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, it's funny though. Some 6 months ago when I had to go to the school to file a paper, for my exemption,
Yeah.
and I went there, and there was a guy there's a security guy there ever since the COVID thing started, and he's like, "You can't go in the building." And I'm like, "What am I? I'm just dropping off a paper." No, I've been told, Mr. Bleed, you can't go in the building, right? So the guy didn't let me in the building. The principal came out and said, "You stay here." They wouldn't let me in the building
Because you weren't vaccinated.
Right? They wouldn't even let me in the building.
You might contaminate the whole school.
Yeah, right.
Oh my! Did you
But-
have to wear a mask?
Oh, I was outside, so I mean, I had it down, but we have to become awake as a society. I know, we don't have time to go into it today, but do your
Do your homework.
Do your homework. Listen to Dr. McCullough. Listen to Dr. Merlone, and you will be red pilled. That's all I have to say.
There you go. You heard it from the teacher. All right, guys. God bless you. Take care. Stay safe. Don't get robbed. Lock your doors. Lock your windows.
Get some gold and silver right
it's
now.
It's crazy
Get
out
up.
there, and get some gold and silver. Get your IRA in order so that when things happen, you're protected. Even if they, you just want to always be diversified. Don't,
Absolutely.
don't.